What's going on, everybody? Welcome back once again to another episode of the Snug Wrestling Podcast. We are going to be going over this week's episode of NXT, an action packed episode of NXT where unexpected guests appeared. Some people that we haven't seen on NXT in a while. Some people from AAA showed up. All kinds of stuff happened on this episode of NXT. We're going to be going over that today. Tommy, our NXT expert, is here with us. How are you doing today, my guy?
Yo, I'm doing good overall. Like this episode of NXT was 100% action packed. It was all over the place, and I could not be happier about that. Especially with the very first segment, which was that little surprise entrance there, which I wasn't expecting at all, but we will get into that here in a sec.
Yeah, and before, I think it was a couple days before this episode of NXT, there were some reports going around that WWE had trademarked Cruz Montana. And this turned out to be Mike Santana, as a former TNA World Champion. He's got a new name. Which how did you feel about that name, Tommy, when you saw that? I mean, it's kind of weird because unlike a lot of the people that we see get signed to the WWE, like Royce Keys, Ricky Saints, or that's his new name. He used to be Ricky Starks. A lot of these guys, they got new names as soon as they signed to the WWE, but we've never seen those guys on WWE TV before. But we have seen Mike Santana on NXT multiple times. The people knew him as Mike Santana. And even then, the WWE said, nah, bro, we're still going to change your name, even though you've been on our TV as Mike Santana in the past a lot of times. I mean, I think that's a first, right? What did you think about that?
Cruz Montana works. It really does. But at the same time, I like Mike Santana more. It fits him better, like a little bit more. Like, isn't he like from Puerto Rico or something like that?
He's from Puerto Rican, like his family's Puerto Rican, but I think he was born in New York, born and raised in New York.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. But Mike Santana, when I heard that, it made me think of him and that look. But now that his name has changed, it's going to take a little bit of getting used to because we have seen him as Mike Santana for so long.
Yeah, that he's been Mike Santana when he was in AEW and TNA and NXT. His whole career, he's been Mike Santana as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, it's kind of weird. It's only been the first day that we've seen him. We'll talk about him more later on, but it's only been the first day as on NXT, officially a part of the NXT roster, right? It's going to take a while for me to get used to calling him Cruz Montana. I still want to call him Mike Santana or Cruz Santana, but it's Cruz Montana now. Again, man, it's just strange because he was already introduced on WWE TV as Mike Santana in the past. But anyway, we'll get to that later on. The first thing that happened here on the show was Grayson Waller. We haven't seen Grayson Waller on TV in a while. Like, he was last seen with the New Day, and he just randomly showed up on this episode of NXT to drop, I guess, a pipe bomb. I heard his version of the pipe bomb where he took over the show. He cut a long promo, and it was interesting because they made you think like, hey, this is not supposed to happen. He's not supposed to be here. At the end of the promo, they cut off his mic because they were like, okay, this is he get out of the ring type thing, right? They wanted to silence him, quote unquote, kind of how they did with CM Punk as well in his pipe bomb. But yeah, Grayson Waller, he took a lot of shots at people. He mentioned Austin Theory. He talked about the New Day. When it comes to Austin Theory, he said that he made Austin Theory get cheered for the very first time in his career. And when it comes to the New Day, he said, "Oh, this is a new day, but I was dressing up for a funeral every week, and the only thing that was dying was my career." So he said a bunch of things in this promo. Cool name, bro, by the way, when he was talking about Cruz Santana. He took a shot at TNA. He also called himself a commercial break comedy act. So he was shooting, Grayson Waller was. So what did you think about the promo? How did you feel about seeing Grayson Waller on developmental after everything that he's done in the main roster lately?
I put these 4 words in all goddamn caps in my notes, which is Waller told no lies whatsoever. There was not a single word in this promo where he lied at all. Like, you want to get unreal? There you go. CM Punk has the pipe bomb. Grayson Waller has the Australian nuke, as I like to call it. So overall, this one promo, he didn't tell any lies with it. Like, he had been the one mainly carrying Austin Theory that entire time through that tag team. And then you've got the New Day, where he's right. His career was slowly dying as he was connected to some of the stupidest feuds with the New Day over that stupid giant ass hat with Penta and Xavier Woods. He was connected to that just by being connected with the New Day. So this promo, I loved it from him.
Yeah, honestly, I loved it too, man, because it was unexpected. And if one thing, if you're not a Grayson Waller fan, either because his in-ring work, you're not a fan of his style or like what he looks like or what his gear, whatever the case, he does have like charisma. He has a lot of personality, and yeah, man, like he came back the last time after he was teamed up with Austin Theory and they both went away. I think Austin Theory got injured or something like that. Grayson Waller went away. He came back with the New Day, and when he came back with the New Day, he was in a lot better shape. Like he was looking really good, Grayson Waller. Unfortunately, the stuff that they had him do with the New Day, he was right. He's right. He was just a comedy act during that was used during those Netflix commercial breaks that they get aired if you have international Netflix, but in the United States, you don't get to see that. So he showed a lot of his frustration as to being put in that position, but still, like he said, he committed to the bit, and that's something that a lot of these superstars do. They run with what they get. They try to make the best of what they get. And something is better than nothing. And that's what Grayson Waller was doing. He did his best to get it over. The New Day is out of the WWE. So now what are they going to do with Grayson Waller? Well, they're going to put him on NXT, but they're going to let him run free. And that's exciting.
And I do love the ending of it, where as soon as his mic got cut, he's like, okay, cameraman, come here. I'm not done yet. Come here. And he just goes, like, you guys want to silence me. You guys want to shut off my mic. That's fine. I don't need a mic. WWE, you refuse to give me the time of day and give me a shot. Well, consider your cage is shook. When he said that, I'm like, oh. So they're really letting him loose. They're just going to let him pull a Punk.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just fine with that one.
Yeah, he came in hot, man, and so did Cruz Santana. See, there you go. Cruz Montana. He came in hot too. So both of these guys, they're coming in with a lot of realness to them, like with the chip on their shoulder, like they have something to prove. They're not coming in with the gimmick. They're not coming in with like funny, goofy stuff like, a Shiloh Hill or a Tristan Angels. They're like, no, like we're going to go straight for the main title for Tony D'Angelo. And Grayson Waller's being serious, which is something completely different than before. Like he wasn't taken serious at all when he was with the New Day recently. But now we're seeing this version of Grayson Waller. They're setting him up in the main title scene for NXT. So yeah, I'm curious to see where this leads to next. Hopefully, you know, it leads to a match with Cruz Montana or something along those lines. But yeah, they're just bringing in more and more people for Tony D'Angelo to defend that NXT Championship title, which is great.
And I do understand what Grayson was saying involving the NXT title as well, because like I said last week, there's only really 3 guys that I could fully look at and just go, hey, here is Tony D'Angelo's next opponent. And that was still Naraku. It was not Kam Hendrix.
Mason Rook.
Yeah, it was. No, it wasn't Mason.
Then what? What are you talking about?
I know it was Naraku. It was like, why am I already blanking on names? It might have been Mesa Rook now that I think about it. But the other one was Mike Santana back when he was Mike Santana a week ago. So just those 3 names were the ones that I immediately thought of. And they were the only 3 names I thought of.
All right. Up next, we had a singles match between Lizzy and Izzy. These names are so similar that even commentary, Booker T was confusing these names like over and over again during this match. But yeah, Lizzy Rain, she defeated Izzi Dame because they were trying to do the numbers game. Nico Vance tried to get involved, but then Sean Spears appeared with the steel chair, which threw off Izzi Dame's game during the match. Lizzy Rain took advantage, got the win over Izzy, and maybe this is going to put Lizzy Rain one step closer to the Women's North American title, because I believe this is what this match is built around, the North American title scene for the women's division. But also the feud with the calling, the issues with the calling are not over.
Yeah, it's very clear that that is not over yet, especially with Spears. Because if you know anything about Sean Spears, you know that he does not forget things easily. He does not forgive that easily, nor does he forget at all. So much that he even laughs at the fact that it was Sean Spears who got kicked in the face by Shawn Michaels all those years ago when Shawn was still a DX and still in the ring. That was Sean Spears that got Sweet Chin Music by the name of Stan. That's who that was. So clearly, he does not forget things at all. So he's not done with the calling. And I had a feeling that it was not going to end at one match. There's no possible way that they were going to kick him out the way that they did, and it was just going to be a one match thing. I could see this being a 3 to 5 match feud there. But Izzi Dame is just getting the short end of the stick to Lizzy Rain at this point. But Lizzy, I could see her with the North American title here soon, like within the next year and a half, easily.
I mean, she's got to go through Zarya to get that. I don't say that's gonna be tough, Tommy. Zarya, she's a badass, bro.
And that's why I said within the next year to year and a half, because once Zarya drops that, it may be easier for her to get to that title.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, so last week they had this interesting stipulation for the North American Championship. Myles Borne made a deal with general manager Robert Stone, where because Myles Borne and Tavion Heights, they formed their tag team once again, and they want to go after the tag team champions. Robert Stone agreed to give them a tag team title shot if Myles Borne puts up the North American Championship on the line on this episode of NXT, and he agreed. And it just so happens that good old Kam Hendrix and injured Kam Hendrix was there in the same room while this conversation was taking place. And Kam Hendrix was like, "Oh, what do you know? I'm feeling a lot better now. Let me get that title shot." So it was a miracle that my guy Kam Hendrix, I just learned that Kam Hendrix is actually from my hometown here in Sacramento, California. So I thought that was pretty fucking cool. Shout out to Kam Hendrix, Sacktown. And so we had a North American title match. Kam Hendrix versus Myles Borne. And it was a good match, man. I'm not just saying this because, I just learned that Kam Hendrix is from my hometown, but he's a really good heel. He's really entertaining. Like he has a really slappable face, He acts like a douchebag. I want to see more of Kam Hendrix. I think he's really good. Myles Borne defended successfully. Wasn't surprised there, but it was a good match. Kam Hendrix got a lot in this match. It was really good. And it seems like this new stipulation, like, hey, I have a title. I want to challenge for a different title, and I can get a title shot if I put up my own title on the line. Kind of interesting. We're going to see that again later on, but what'd you think of the match? And now we're going to get a tag team title match next week from this.
Yeah, and like you said, this is not going to be the only time we're seeing it, because we're seeing it with Ren Sinclair next week involving Zarya. And instead of that being for the North American title, no. They're going to put Zarya in a damn speed match. I don't know why, but they're putting Zarya in a speed match for that speed title. So, yeah, not the only time that we're going to see that. The match itself was great. I loved it. Of course, Tavion had to play a little bit of devil's advocate for Myles Borne with the fact that good old he's big, he's bad tried to come out and screw over this match just so he could get his hands on Kam Hendrix. So that did end up happening after the match, after Myles has already won. So we will be getting that tag team title match next week. And please, God, please take those fucking titles off of the Vanity Project. I hate him so goddamn much. I'm like toxic with Gunther right now. He says fuck Gunther. I say fuck the Vanity Project. But I seriously would not mind seeing good old Myles 2 belt. Like him with North American title on one arm, the tag title on the other. I wouldn't mind seeing that.
That wouldn't be a bad idea because that kind of builds up the match that we want to see between Myles Borne and Jackson Drake at some point. Now if Myles Borne takes the tag team titles from the Vanity Project, well, now Jackson Drake has to take that North American Championship from Myles Borne as payback, right? So I think that could be interesting. But yeah, the ending of the match, after the match was done, after Myles Borne had pinned Kam Hendrix, Mason Rook rushes the ring and attacks Kam Hendrix again after the match. That part I thought was kind of unnecessary and kind of dumb because usually the heels are the ones that jump the babyface after the match, right? But this time, Mason Rook, who's supposed to be a babyface, attacks Kam Hendrix after he lost the match. Like, I understand Mason Rook is mad at Kam Hendrix, but he wants to hurt him, but Kam Hendrix lost the match. He's already hurt. So why is the babyface going in after the match to attack the heel after he's already lost? He's already lost. He's already hurt. That to me, I don't know. That didn't really make a whole lot of sense. And then Mason Rook attacked Kam Hendrix and then they just went away. And that's when the Vanity Project showed up and the Vanity Project tried to attack Myles Borne and Tavion Heights. And I'm just like, then what was the point of Mason Rook coming out here So they did two different run-ins like in the same 30 seconds, and I'm just like, what the fuck is the point of that? Whatever. What did you think about that?
I get that Mason wanted to get his hands on Kam Hendrix. I really do. But at the same time, he tried once during the match to interfere, in which that's when Tavion came out and went, hey, no, you can get your hands on him here in a second. Let Myles finish the damn match. He's got it in the bag right now. Let him finish it. Then you can get your hands on Kam Hendrix. But after the match as well, it did feel kind of heelish. But then again, I don't even know what the hell he is. I know Kam Hendrix is a heel, but is he a heel or is he a damn babyface at this point? Because he seems a little bit
Mason
more
Rook?
like a tweener. Yeah. Like
I'm gonna
Mason
say
seems
he's
a
a
little bit more like a
babyface.
tweener.
I'm gonna say he's a babyface because the fans love him a lot. He's being cheered, and he's also having backstage segments with the baby faces. Mason Rook is, and he's going after the heels. So I'm gonna say he's a babyface.
Yeah, it's like he says, and the fans love him, so he's a babyface on that side. But clearly, he's doing heel shit as well. So,
Yeah,
like, I'm sensing a little bit more of a tweener where they don't know fully which side he's on yet.
yeah, I think you're right. All right, we had a special appearance from some AAA guys, Los Perros del Mal, Angel Garza, and Humberto Carrillo. Showed up on NXT this week in support of their fellow faction member in Mexico, Bronco Nima. However, Bronco Nima's tag team partner from Out the Mud, Lucius Price, did not seem very happy to see Los Perros del Mal. And that leads to the tag team match that comes after that, because we had Out the Mud versus the Birthright. Has Out the Mud always been this over? Like, I don't remember seeing the crowd this excited for Out the Mud, I think, ever.
Apparently, you haven't fully been paying attention to Out the Mud then, because the fans have been all over them for a
Okay,
hot minute.
got you. Okay. Well, yeah, so they wrestled Out the Mud, and it was a good match. Out the Mud, man, they're big motherfuckers, dude. They're huge dudes, and there's a big size difference when it comes to Out the Mud and the Birthright. They clearly highlighted that. It showed in this match. Out the Mud looked really good. They looked intimidating. They overpowered the Birthright. The Birthright are the chicken shit heels that are trying to play the numbers game. They're trying to cheat. But at the end of everything, after this really good tag team match, Los Perros del Mal came out. We saw them backstage before the match. Humberto and Garza decide to show up during the match. And as soon as they come out, the Birthright and Los Perros del Mal have a little face off outside of the ring. That leads to Bronco Nima jumping out of the ring. He leaves the match. He leaves his tag team partner alone in the middle of the ring to try to calm things down between his faction, who's outside Los Perros del Mal, and the Birthright. But he forgot about his team Out the Mud, who's in the middle of the ring. The Birthright took advantage. They got the win over Out the Mud. And we end this match with a stare down between Los Perros del Mal and Lucius Price, with Bronco Nima in the middle of them, which I thought was a good ending because they're trying to put Bronco Nima in the middle of, like, okay, what's your priority? What team are you going to go with? Are you going to stand with Perros del Mal, or are you going to stand next to Out the Mud?
Yeah, overall, that's the question. Which show will he do? Because there's two shows right there. There's AAA and there's NXT. Both of them will have a show on the exact same day at the exact same place. So that's the question with this story. And it's been furthered, but I have a massive fear, unfortunately. I love Out the Mud. They are so damn good. What if they implode at some point? Like, what if this entire thing with that new faction and him get a little bit like too into it and Out the Mud ends up splitting? Like, I hate the thought of that, but I have this fear like it's gonna happen. You're muted.
Thank you. Yeah. This one's interesting because I think this is the first time where they're actually like telling or trying to tell the same story with what's happening AAA and what's happening on NXT, because when we have like these WWE guys like Dominic Mysterio, for example, go down to AAA, it's two completely different worlds, right? The main roster with the AAA roster, two completely different things, right? But when it comes to AAA and NXT, it looks like they're trying to combine those two worlds. And a lot of that probably has to do with what you said, that they're going to have the same show on the same day, the same arena, I believe. But I'm like, they can still do the whole AAA thing with Perros and Mal with Bronco Nima and Out the Mud. But for some reason, with Bronco Nima, they want him to choose. But yet, Dominic Mysterio and others, they can do their thing in AAA and go to the main roster, and it doesn't matter. Those two things don't go hand in hand. It's two different things, but here it's not.
I mean, the difference is Bronco Nima actually shows up to AAA, unlike Dom. So Dom has had this massive point in time while being the world champion of AAA, where he just didn't show up, to the point where I will remind you, Rey Mysterio full on looked at him and went, "Hey, you finally showed up to work." So there is that. There's that massive difference there.
Yeah, man. If they decide to break out the mud, I don't see them doing that, man. I don't see them doing that, because then what is Bronco Nima gonna do on NXT? He's not. He's what? He's gonna be off NXT, because if he goes with Perros and Mal, if that's gonna be his focus, then that tells me, okay, then we're just gonna move Bronco Nima to AAA, because that's where his character wants to be, quote unquote, right? And if he stays without the mud, okay, say that they Out the Mud breaks up. Lucius Price is gonna do his own thing on NXT. Bronco Nima could do his own thing on NXT, but still run around with Perros and Mal in Mexico. I don't know, man. I don't see Out the Mud breaking up over this. I really don't. But I could be wrong. I thought the fog was coming, Tommy. Shiloh Hill versus Tristan Angels wrestled on this episode of NXT. Last week we saw a spooky promo by Shiloh Hill. He meets with Danhausen. He gets a fake tooth from Danhausen. And he was teasing that the fog is coming, the fog is coming. And so this match starts between Tristan Angels and Shiloh Hill. And I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting to see what's going to happen. What's this fake tooth about? Where's the fog? And then Shiloh Hill defeats Tristan Angels with the pretty cool finisher, the Thunder neck breaker from the top rope. I'm sorry, the Super Thunder neck breaker from the top rope, and beats him clean in the middle of the ring, 1, 2, 3. So Shiloh Hill goes over, but what was the point of the tease last week, and what was the point of the video package with Danhausen? None of that came into play in this match.
Because I don't think this feud is ending. I have a feeling like it's going to go a whole lot further, and Shiloh himself said that this has been something that's been hiding within him for a while. It's a lot like The Fiend with Bray Wyatt, where that was always there. It just had never popped out yet. So I have a feeling like it still will happen. I have a feeling like the fog will show up. It's just going to take a little bit more time than we all wanted. Because there's no possible way that they're going to do nothing with it and still have good old Danhausen ask, hey, I hope that's not the cursed tooth. Like, why have him say that if something's not going to happen later on? The match itself was great. It's Shiloh. Shiloh is Shiloh, and that finisher of his, it works so well. I fucking love that thing. But like I said, I don't think this is ending here.
I mean, I think that was the only reason I was watching this match, if I'm being honest. Well, other than the fact that we're gonna cover it, of course, and all that good stuff. But like, yeah, man, I was excited for that. Like, they couldn't even tease it a little bit, just to be like, okay, we're gonna continue this later on. Give us a cliffhanger or something. Like, keep us hooked. Like, I don't know, maybe have Shiloh Hill put on the mask for a second, or scare Tristan Angels, or I don't know, something, but nothing. They didn't do anything when it comes to the fog. No smoke, no mess, nothing, bro. So it was just like, all right. It was kind of disappointing, but whatever. All right, the final segment of the show was the big promo we were going to hear from Cruz Montana himself after he appeared last week after NXT, after the main event, and he had a little face-to-face with Tony D'Angelo. And Cruz Montana comes out, and he cuts a really passionate promo. He talks about all of his struggles growing up in New York, and, he's from the hood, and having all these challenges, trying to make it in pro wrestling. He makes it to pro wrestling. He becomes a tag team wrestler, and they tell them, he didn't say who exactly, but he said, they told me that I've reached my peak. I was never going to make it anything bigger than a tag team wrestler. But then he went to TNA, he started winning, and now he can officially say that Cruz Montana is officially a WWE superstar. And you can hear it in his voice, man. His voice is cracking. This means a lot to him. He's worked hard. I've been following his career since he was in AEW, and I'm glad that he's on NXT, and this is just the beginning for him. I definitely see him being in the main roster in WWE one day. And he also talked about his daughter, him being not just a better wrestler, but a better man, a better father. So again, man, kind of like Grayson Waller in the opening segment, Cruz Montana is speaking from the heart. He's being honest. There's a lot of realism here, that's what I like to see in my promos. So we got Grayson Waller shooting from the hip. Cruz Montana is spitting facts. And then Tony D'Angelo comes out and he confronts Cruz Montana. He's like, hey, I feel you. I get where you're coming from. He was like, but you're talking about me now. You're talking about taking my spot now. I'm not okay with it. It's gonna take a lot for you to take this championship from me. Then Grayson Waller comes out, and all three of these men have a little brawl. But Cruz Montana is in the NXT main title scene. Grayson Waller is, and things are heating up in that main title scene.
Things are heating up in that main title scene, and here we go. I'm just so happy that they are seriously using Grayson Waller, because ever since New Day left, there's been nothing for Grayson Waller to do. So even if that means sending him down back to NXT just to use him, I'm fine with that overall. But I like that face-to-face between Tony D and I still want to call him Mike Santana so bad.
Yeah.
And Cruz Montana, like that face-off, I'm excited for that match. Like, we know it's going to happen. I'm excited to see how in the world those two are going to work together and how that match is going to go down, because that is going to be a phenomenal match. It's most likely going to be close to a 5-star when those two finally go head to head. But then you've got good old Grayson Waller attacking Cruz Montana. And I'm interested to see where that goes as well.
All right. Before we wrap up here, Tommy, before we get up out of here, that was the episode of NXT. I want to do quick predictions for the matches that were announced for next week. Let's start off with the tag team match for the tag team titles: Vanity Project versus Myles Borne and Tavion Heights. This one is going to be a good one. Is it time to take to defeat the Vanity Project, take the titles, get new tag team champions? I think it is, man. They've been winning a lot. The Vanity Project have been winning a lot of matches, tag team matches. Even Jackson Drake, he's been winning a lot of his singles matches. The Vanity Project have been doing really good, but we are talking about Myles Borne and Tavion Heights, both individually phenomenal wrestlers. But as a tag team, my God, this tag team, it looks pretty unbeatable, if I'm being honest. I have a feeling we're going to get new tag team champions.
And I'm with you, not just because of the fact that I hate the Vanity Project, but at the same time here, it will then further that story with Jackson Drake, where Jackson can officially go up and go, hey, you took my team's tag team titles. That's fine. You can have those at this point. But I want my North American title shot. That's what I want out of this. I want Tavion and Myles Borne to take those titles off of the Vanity Project, and Jackson Drake goes after that North American and hopefully takes that off of him if everything goes right for him.
All right, and now we're going to have a women's tag team match. Thea Hale and Jada Parker are going up against Carmen Petrovic and Nikita Lyons with Natty on their corner. And Natty has been feuding with Jada Parker. It looks like Natty's getting ready to feud with Thea Hale. So Thea Hale and Jada Parker, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and they have to go up against Natty's faction first to get to Natty.
And I would not be surprised if good old Thea Hale and her, like that tag team right there,
Jada Parker,
it works. Jada Parker and Thea Hale, it works. It severely does. And I can't wait to see how the hell these two work as a tag team. So I'm going Jada and Thea.
All right. Okay, and we're going to get a championship match. The Speed Women's Championship. Ren Sinclair is putting up her Speed title versus Zarya. Now, kind of like the Myles Borne situation. Myles Borne, in order to get the tag team title shot, he had to defend his North American Championship, and if he defended it successfully, he gets the tag team title shot, right? So Ren Sinclair is going to do the same. She's going to put up her Speed title. And if she defends successfully in return, she gets a shot at the North American Championship. Which is strange, right? Because this is Zarya we're talking about. I don't believe that Ren Sinclair is going to, on paper, can beat Zarya. Because Zarya is the North American Championship. I'm sorry, but that's just the bigger title. The bigger champion. The Speed title is just like below mid-card. I hate to say that, but like it's just the Speed title. So I'm like, what the fuck? What are they going to do here? I have no idea.
What if neither of them win?
Like time runs out or something like that?
Time runs out or disqualification. There you go. it saves both of them. It keeps both of them safe right there. So I'm going neither.
I mean, yeah, you're probably right, but that doesn't really answer the question because I believe the agreement is that she has to, Ren Sinclair has to successfully defend, like she has to beat Zarya in order to get the North American title. So if the time runs out or if she gets DQ'd, she didn't beat Zarya. She gets to keep her title, but she didn't win the match.
Then at that point, I've got to go Ren Sinclair. Because if Ren Sinclair wins this, she can go up against Zarya and lose. That's what I think is going to happen.
But then, do you really beat your North American champion, the champion Zarya, the woman that defeated 3 other women a couple weeks ago in a fatal 4-way match? She's going to get beat by Ren Sinclair.
But at the same time, Ren Sinclair basically just got that title.
Yeah, man. I mean, this situation with Myles Borne, the Vanity Project, it works in that situation, but I don't think it works here, man. Either way, it's going to be interesting to see what they do here. I'm interested, that's for sure. All right, let's go to the underground. I'm pretty sure this is going to be the main event of NXT next week. Kendall Gray versus Lola Vice for the Women's NXT Championship in a MMA style underground no rules fight. The winner must knock out their opponent in order to win. Lola Vice she has a real MMA background, so she's had a couple of these matches in the underground and she's been undefeated. Kendall Gray just won the NXT Championship not that long ago. She's a new young champion that wants to prove herself. So she's like, yeah, let's take it to your world, Lola, and I'm going to prove to you that I wasn't just lucky, that I beat you in a regular match and I could beat you in the underground.
This one's tough. This one's really, really tough. Because I love Lola. I really, really do. I think it's her time to lose this one.
Why?
Because I think it's too early. I think it's too early for her to drop that title. She just got it.
Yeah.
Like, I love Lola, and I get that she is, in fact, undefeated in the underground match.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time here, it's too early for Kendall Gray to drop that title. It just is. So that's where I'm going. I'm going Kendall Gray. I really, really wish that I could say Lola Vice, but the timing does not work for Kendall Gray losing it.
Yeah, there's also been a lot of reports that Lola Vice is going to get called up to the main roster like really, really soon. Lola Vice lost her mixed tag team title in AAA last weekend. So there's really nothing keeping her on NXT anymore. I mean, I guess that probably doesn't matter because even if Lola Vice goes to the main roster, she could still show up on AAA. But I think the timing of everything just seems kind of suspicious, you know. I definitely believe that Kendall Gray is going to retain because of those reports that I've been seeing a lot lately, mainly.
Yeah, I have seen those reports as well that they're thinking of pulling Lola up. And I believe putting her on SmackDown, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So if that is right at that point, she has to lose this. Then she's called up. There you go. It's right there.
Yet again, that's what people were saying about Tatum Paxley, and she's still on NXT, so I guess we'll see.
Yeah, but between the two of them, I love Tatum, but I feel like Lola is more ready for main roster than Tatum Paxley is.
Very, very likely. Well, yeah, that's what's happening on NXT this week. We are still on the road to Heat Wave. We got 1 more month left exactly. I'm excited to see what they're going to do next. We have 4 more episodes of NXT before their next PLE. Yeah, it's going to be good to see how these matches form together, who we could see defend at Heatwave. It's going to be really good, Tommy. Like always, thank you for being here with us and reviewing NXT. And let's get up out of here.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was this episode of the Snug Wrestling Podcast, where we went through NXT. You can catch us every Monday directly after Monday Night Raw, every Wednesday for next day reviews of NXT, and every Sunday for Friday Night SmackDown. Although this Sunday, you will not be getting a Friday Night SmackDown review, as you can mark your calendars for both days for this weekend for night 1 review on Saturday and night 2 review on Sunday of SummerSlam. Go get your merch. That is at tpublic.com/snug_wrestling. That is teepublic.com/snug_wrestling. That is also in all of our bios, so go check that out as well. That was one time for the one time. Stay safe, stay savage, and stay snug. 4 letters, 1 word. Yeet.